Andy. And I don't. It's
How many times do you ask
you put a piece of silver in
and
the.
look at the second white phono films and you...
It's tonight, and you were defending yourself.
I'm not a client.
Do you truly know the hidden details of Joan Rivers' life beyond her edgy jokes and numerous cosmetic surgeries? 10 years after her passing, her daughter is now disclosing shocking stories about Joan that were previously unknown. She has also shared the actual number of surgeries her mother underwent to change her appearance. In this video, we'll uncover all secrets about Joan Rivers that her daughter has just revealed. But before we dive into these revelations, we need to understand the early events that shaped Joan's extraordinary life. Joan's early life and career. Joan Rivers was born Joan Alexandra Malinsky in Brooklyn, New York, on June 8, 1933. She was the younger of two daughters raised by Russian immigrant parents. Her father, a doctor, helped spark her love for humor, which became her signature trait and career. Joan was not just funny, she was also highly intelligent. After graduating with high honors from Barnard College, she jumped into the exciting comedy scene of New York in the 1960s. Before becoming famous, she showed her talent on shows like Candid Camera. Her big break came in 1965 when she appeared on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. This appearance launched her career, leading to her own show, The Joan Rivers Show, in the 1970s. Her sharp humor and self-deprecating style won her a large following and made her a well-known TV personality, with appearances on shows like The Carol Burnett Show and Hollywood Squares. But Joan was not just a performer. She also wrote and directed. In 1973, she co-wrote a TV movie and directed her own film, Rabbit Test, in 1978. By the 1980s, Joan was a regular on The Tonight Show, known for her quick wit and bold humor. Victories, losses, and comebacks. Joan's talents went beyond television. She wrote a best-selling book, The Life and Hard Times of Heidi Abramowitz, a funny faux autobiography based on one of her signature characters, and followed up with several more books. The 1980s also brought some controversy when Joan started her own late-night talk show on Fox in 1986, competing directly with The Tonight Show. This decision led to a public rift with Johnny Carson, who felt betrayed. Despite the show's failure after a year, Joan continued to push forward. The cancellation, combined with the tragic suicide of her husband, Edgar Rosenberg, in 1987, was a tough period for her. She faced criticism and felt isolated. Yet Joan's resilience shone through. In 1989, she launched a new daytime talk show, The Joan Rivers Show, which ran for 5 successful years and earned her a Daytime Emmy Award in 1990. In 1994, she entered theater, writing and starring in Sally Marr and Her Escorts, and even received a Tony Award nomination. In the mid-90s, Joan and her daughter, Melissa Rivers, teamed up for Live from the Red Carpet on E! Entertainment Television, running from 1996 to 2004. This show allowed Joan to use her humor to critique celebrity fashion. Her witty commentary made her a pop culture icon, leading to another popular E! show, Fashion Police. Besides her TV work, Joan launched a successful jewelry line and other products on QVC. She also appeared on The Celebrity Apprentice in 2009. Her life was highlighted in the documentary Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work in 2010. Joan and Melissa Rivers also created the reality series Joan and Melissa, Joan Knows Best on WE-TV in 2011, which followed Joan's move to California to be with family and showcased her lively personality. She made cameos in shows like Louie and movies like The Smurfs and Iron Man 3. Joan Rivers continued to bring laughter to audiences until 2014, when a tragic event led to her untimely death. Legal battles and advocacy. Here is the sad story behind Joan Rivers' death. In 2014, she went to a clinic in Manhattan, including trouble breathing, which led to a need for an hour of resuscitation efforts before she could be moved to Mount Sinai Hospital. Sadly, after spending a week in critical care, she passed away on September 4, 2014. What investigators uncovered is truly shocking. The investigation revealed that Joan's death was caused by brain damage from a lack of oxygen. It also brought to light troubling details about the clinic's procedures. Investigators found major issues such as poor monitoring of vital signs, incorrect use of anesthesia, and procedures that went beyond what was authorized. These problems played a big role in her tragic death. After Joan's passing, her daughter Melissa sued the Yorkville Endoscopy Clinic on Manhattan's Upper East Side, accusing them of medical negligence and performing unauthorized procedures. The lawsuit claimed that the doctors did a more invasive laryngoscopy instead of the agreed-upon endoscopy and ignored the anesthesiologist's warnings about Joan's breathing. There were also allegations that doctors took unauthorized photos of Joan while she was unconscious. A report from health authorities in November 2014 listed many mistakes made by the clinic, including failing to notice worsening vital signs and not acting quickly enough. The clinic's response was seen as insufficient by many. In January 2015, after a federal inspection, the New York Department of Health and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services found similar issues and revoked the clinic's Medicare certification. This meant that Medicare and Medicaid, which help elderly patients, would no longer cover costs at the clinic. The clinic later regained its certification after making improvements. The incident led to broader discussions about patient safety and the need for better oversight to prevent such tragedies in the future. After 2 years of legal battles, the Rivers family settled with the clinic in 2016, with the clinic admitting fault for the medical staff's errors. While the case was resolved, the tragedy and mistakes could not be undone. Interestingly, after the settlement, Melissa Rivers and her attorneys Ben Rubenstein and Jeff Bloom chose not to reveal the settlement amount reached with the hospital during negotiations. They focused instead on advocating for better patient care and honoring Joan's memory. Melissa expressed her relief at closing the legal chapter and emphasized her commitment to improving safety standards in outpatient surgical centers to prevent similar tragedies. Melissa Rivers's memoir and Rebuilding Relationships. Melissa Rivers once mentioned to the press that the word closure was used too often. She also made it clear that she wanted to move past both the legal battles and the loss of her mother, Joan. On The Today Show with Matt Lauer, Melissa talked about her goal to push for tougher rules in outpatient surgical clinics, aiming to set federal standards. This was her way of turning a painful experience into a positive change, seeking better safety measures in healthcare. After dealing with the legal issues, Melissa did something notable. She channeled her grief and frustration into a deeply personal memoir. In this book, she openly shared the intense emotions she felt during her mother's final days and the subsequent legal struggles. Although the memoir covers the tough emotions of her mother's death and the legal fights, it also includes some humorous moments. Melissa wanted her book to bring laughter, even to Joan herself. The memoir highlights Joan's love for exaggeration, playfully calling these embellishments tall tales or even outright funny lies. Melissa explains that these were part of Joan's comedic style, adding that many of these fibs were just her way of spicing up her stories. While Joan Rivers was known for her playful exaggerations and fabrications, it's interesting to note that she wasn't always the best at lying in real life. Author Leslie Bennett, in the biography Last Girl Before Freeway, The Life, Loves, Losses, and Liberation of Joan Rivers, points out this difference. According to Vogue, Joan often played fast and loose with the truth, including a claim about being in the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society, which turned out to be false. Bennett suggests that these fibs were Joan's way of reinventing herself, creating a bigger persona than what she felt she had. Whether it was her academic achievements, age, or appearance, Joan used humor and wit to build a larger-than-life image that her fans adored. A famous example of Joan's creative storytelling occurred during an interview with Howard Stern. She told a dramatic story about a dinner at the upscale New York restaurant Le Cirque. However, the restaurant quickly refuted the claim. These exaggerations and tall tales were key to Joan's comedy. Even though she might have stretched the truth from time to time, it was always in the name of making people laugh. Her playful stories brought humor and excitement to her performances, connecting her with her audience through her larger-than-life persona. Joan's feminism and revelation. Joan Rivers' sharp humor and courage in addressing tough topics like abortion opened doors for many women in comedy. This bold approach earned her the title of a trailblazing feminist icon from many, breaking barriers in a field dominated by men. However, her style of humor, which often poked fun at women's weight and looks, led to some criticism. People wondered if her jokes supported or undermined the cause of women's empowerment. Even years after her death, this debate remains active. In an interview with V Magazine, her daughter Melissa Rivers tackled this issue directly. While many saw Joan as a feminist pioneer, Joan herself never claimed that title. According to Melissa, Joan valued living life on her own terms. This included traditional gestures, like a man opening a car door, despite her strong independence and comedic influence. Joan faced unfair criticism when her husband committed suicide, with some people blaming her as a poor wife. This also affected her delicate relationship with Melissa. In the same V Magazine interview, Melissa talked about their relationship. After her father's tragic death in 1987, Melissa felt anger towards Joan, which led to a strained period of about a year. Despite this, they eventually reconciled and rebuilt their relationship. Melissa described their bond as very close, noting their collaboration on various projects, including reality shows like The Celebrity Apprentice and Joan and Melissa, Joan Knows Best, as well as co-hosting Fashion Police. Melissa acknowledged that rebuilding their bond was a slow process, filled with ups and downs, but ultimately strengthened by their unique mother-daughter bond. This special connection was key to the success of their on-screen projects and red carpet moments. Here's another surprising detail. Joan Rivers often made jokes at Elizabeth Taylor's expense, but the real story behind their relationship is surprising. Remember the bumper sticker joke about whales and appetizers? Melissa Rivers reveals a deeper secret in her memoir. Despite the jokes, Joan truly admired Elizabeth Taylor. They even worked together on AIDS research, showing their shared commitment to charity. Their friendship grew stronger in private, with the help of their mutual friend, actor Roddy McDowall. Melissa explains that some of Joan's jokes were not just attacks on Elizabeth, but more like good-natured teasing, something Joan often did with Taylor. However, biographer Leslie Bennett, in her book on Joan, suggests that Joan secretly envied Elizabeth Taylor's beauty and fame. Marie Claire also notes that Joan's sharp humor towards other women came from her own insecurities. Joan once reportedly said that the lack of male attention to her looks drove her to get plastic surgery. But Melissa Rivers has challenged this view, stating that it's wrong to see her mother's surgeries as just a result of insecurity. While the exact number of procedures remained unknown, Melissa's memoir, Joan, Tales of Mirth, Mischief, and Manipulation, reveals the long-held secret. Initially, Melissa suggested Joan's surgeries might not have been as many as people thought, only to reveal later that there were an astonishing 365 procedures. Melissa acknowledges that Joan's insecurities about her appearance drove many of her surgeries, but she also says Joan came to accept and love her body later in life. Melissa explains that Joan's choices were about doing what she needed to do to feel better, noting how Joan's self-view changed as she got older. On her 80th birthday, Joan reportedly said, "You know what? For 80, I don't look so bad," shifting from self-deprecating jokes to self-acceptance. Regarding Joan's jokes about other women, Melissa clarifies they weren't just about envy or insecurity. Instead, Melissa describes them as a mix of friendship, humor, and playful teasing. Legacy and estate. During her lifetime, Joan Rivers embraced a lavish lifestyle. She once remarked, "People say money can't buy happiness, but I always thought having enough money could at least get you a key made for happiness." This quote captures Joan's unique blend of self-deprecating humor and her love for life's luxuries. When Joan passed away, she left behind an estimated net worth of $150 million and a collection of high-end and quirky items. These possessions drew public interest when some were auctioned off as the private collection of Joan Rivers by Christie's. The auction featured luxury jewelry from brands like Harry Winston and Chanel, alongside rare items such as a Tiffany dog bowl and a silk pagoda dog bed. The collection, which included Louis XVI-style furniture and other fab pieces, reportedly brought in $2.4 million. While the material wealth of Joan's estate caught media attention, it's crucial to remember her broader legacy. She was a trailblazing comedian, actress, writer, and TV personality who broke barriers and paved the way for many others. Her sharp wit, self-deprecating humor, and relentless drive continue to inspire and entertain audiences worldwide. Joan's love for luxury went beyond personal enjoyment. She was a generous hostess who loved sharing her extravagant belongings with friends. Marjorie Stern, a close friend, remembered Joan's attentiveness in making sure everyone at her gatherings felt welcome and had a great time. After Joan's death, her daughter Melissa found some surprising quirks. One unusual habit was how Joan stashed her travel cash in empty milk dud boxes. The boxes were the perfect size for paper money and provided a discreet hiding place even from those searching her purse. This revealed Joan's playful and resourceful side. There were also rumors that Joan hid fun money around her house in small bills. While sorting through Joan's belongings, Melissa checked books and magazines for hidden cash, not suspecting the candy boxes scattered around the apartment. This playful resourcefulness was typical of Joan. In her memoir, Melissa shared a story titled The Purse, where a TSA security check revealed unexpected items in Joan's bag, including a Ziploc bag of bacon bits and a vial of fake blood. Joan had planned to throw the fake blood at hijackers if her plane was ever compromised, showcasing her characteristic mix of humor and preparedness. Melissa also shared insights into her mother's traditional upbringing. Despite Joan's flamboyant persona, Melissa enjoyed a normal childhood. However, things changed when Melissa started dating. Joan, known for pushing boundaries, gave surprising advice, encouraging Melissa to be daring and put herself out there in her love life. This unconventional counsel from a mother added another layer to Joan's complex personality. Melissa's memoir also offers a different perspective on Joan's parenting, revealing both the challenges and the unique bond they shared. Melissa reminisced about early car rides, sharing her mother's candid remark, "There were no fancy car seats back then, Missy. They didn't have car seats when you were born, and you survived just fine." While this is humorous and a bit worrying, it shows how child safety and parenting have changed over time. Beyond her stage persona, Joan was a devoted grandmother who loved quiet hobbies, like needlepoint. Melissa recalls her mother finding peace in crafting, often relaxing in bed with true crime documentaries playing in the background while she stitched. This image of the queen of comedy, finding calm in creativity, contrasts with her public image of constant energy. Joan wasn't the best speller. Melissa shared some funny pillow slogans her mother made, like, "Don't expect praise without envy until you're dead," and Fashion knows no pain. These playful tidbits show Joan's sharp wit and unique sense of humor in her personal life. Joan had a way with words that made her a queen of wordplay. However, Melissa's memoir reveals a surprising habit. As children often do, Melissa recalls how Joan would cheat at crossword puzzles, fitting in misspelled words to complete them. Joan's response, "Don't bother me with the details, it works for me," highlights her approach. The end justifies the means. Melissa's touching gesture of including a crossword puzzle book and Joan's favorite pens in her coffin reflects their shared love for the activity, and Melissa's desire to ensure her mother's enjoyment continues even in the afterlife. Melissa also shares insights into her mother's relationships, describing them as love-hate. Joan's comedic persona often included morbid humor, like her fake death flight, where she listed names of people she wished were on a doomed plane. Despite this, she was deeply loved by many around the world. Melissa reveals that Joan's ashes weren't kept in one place after her passing. Instead, they were shared with friends in different countries and even in unexpected places, like stores and studios. Melissa keeps some of her mother's ashes near her belongings, showing their profound bond. The memoir also includes a touching detail, a note of condolence from President Barack Obama, signifying the wide recognition and respect Joan garnered throughout her career. Melissa Rivers' memoir summarizes her mother's legacy. She made America laugh and made America think. This powerful statement captures Joan's impact both as a comedian who brought joy and as a social commentator who provoked reflection. As we remember Joan's extraordinary journey, it is essential to acknowledge the enduring power of laughter. In a world often burdened by seriousness, her ability to make people laugh was a powerful tool for connection, stress relief, and cultural critique. I want to thank you for watching, and please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Till next time.